Sunday, everybody. Welcome to the Jaden Show. I'm Jaden Cornelious. I've got a really, really lovely show in store for you today. Now, you might remember back about a month or so ago in my book read edition, episode 2, we met Lee Hemingway. Well, today we're going to meet the man behind Lee Hemingway. He's a radio DJ. He's an author. He's a pianist. He's bloody lovely. His name is Lee Benson, and you're going to meet him in a minute. But let's check out a little bit of his music. This is called Impromptu. I'm afraid you're going to have to wait another couple of minutes before we go and meet Lee, because we are going to a Jaden Show commercial break. Hey guys, I wanted to take this opportunity to let you know about the Jaden Show commercial break starting now. This is amazing news, because now every single week you have a couple of minutes to be able to advertise something you want to advertise. So if you have a business, if you have an event coming up, if you have a new album, art gallery, or anything you want to particularly advertise on a show, this is your chance to do it. March and April 2024, the advertisements are free, so please let me know. Get in touch to me on jadencornelius@aol.com. It will be wonderful to hear from you. If you are a charity or a charitable organization or a non-profit and you are advertising something with regards to that, then always your advertising is free, so let me know. You will need to send me between a 1 and 2 minute video around that time, if possible, something that you want to advertise, and I will fit it into this spot. Get on. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. Are you ready to meet this week's special guest? I know I am. Let's go and meet the wonderful Mr. Lee Benson, the Jaden Show's special guest. The Lee Benson. Welcome to the Jaden Show. How are you doing, Governor?
Jaden, thank you for letting me come on your show. Absolutely riveting.
Highlight of my hour it is.
God. It'll never be the same. You'll never get it back.
No, it isn't already. We're not even started the interview yet. How are you doing, mate? How's like the outer reaches of Birmingham going for you at the moment?
Well, we are officially in the Black Country. This is known as the posh Black Country. It's only 9 miles up the road from Birmingham, so we're not Birmingham. We are in the Black Country, which is very different.
So do they still have an accent like they've got a blocked up now?
Very much. There's 16 or 17 dialects within like a 4-mile radius, yeah. And you know where all of them are.
Right.
I mean, I was originally from Moseley, which is the core centre of sex, drugs and rock and roll. Ta-da! Proper Moseley.
Destined to succeed.
We had cows in the fields. We had Ann Jones, a tennis player, living on the corner. Things like that.
In the fields?
I go back
cows.
that far. Cows. It was cows. Which
no, was the tennis player living in the corner of the field?
Ann Jones lived on the corner across from where I used to live. Yeah.
She had a house and everything. She weren't with the cows, no?
No, they were next door. There was a barrier between. There was a fence. She was okay. They weren't very good at doubles. That was the problem.
They were safe.
UB40 lived in Moseley.
Amazing! Wow.
It was Moseley Art School, which I didn't go to. My sister and brother did go to it, and I've known. In fact, there's a lovely lady called Lisa. Lisa Travers was Brian Travers's daughter. God rest him. It was his birthday the other day, and so when she came to work for me, I knew her as a little girl.
Wow.
And so I had, we kept maintaining the fact that she is under her own right. She's not Brian's daughter. You are Lisa. I'm still in touch with them. So, and then I'm actually I designed, this is for you, so I designed the public sculpture for UB40, because in Birmingham's the Black Sabbath Bridge.
Yeah.
And they've got the Black Sabbath bench with the 4 figures on it. And I've designed the UB40 one, which is more or less ready to roll. So it's my first public work sculpture of UB40. A pretty huge band, which have got a bigger following around the world than they have in Birmingham, believe it or not. Even though they're all Brummies.
No, and when I sing Kingston Town and Red Wine here, every Mexican knows every bloody word, mate.
Well, good.
It's so cool. It's really quite interesting, actually, being in like so far away from home, and they know the words to the most randomest of songs. That I remember driving through I was just moving to the Cancun area at the time, driving through the jungle, and put the radio on, and it was "Tie a Yellow Ribbon Round the Oak Tree," and I was just like,
that was Mark Bolan's song, wasn't it? Tie a yellow mini round an old oak tree. So.
Oh yeah, that's the one. Yeah, wasn't it?
Sorry, listeners.
I had to phone my mum. I was like, "Oh my god, you'd never believe it! What that song Nan used to sing to me."
Yeah,
I heard it on the radio in the middle of the Mexican jungle.
What was the band that did Tie a Yellow Ribbon? Something Man, Brotherhood of Man, brother.
No, that wasn't Brotherhood of Man. I'm going to admit I was a fan of. I'm going to find out. I'm going to ask Google, mate, as we speak live.
Hello, Google. Please tell me.
Hello, Alexa. I don't even have Alexa. Google. Who was the bands that sung "Tie a Yellow Ribbon Round the Old Oak Tree"? Do you think that was a little bit too much information?
And the answer is...
It was Tony, Orlando, and Dawn.
Tony Orlando, that's... Okay. It's even earlier.
So, yeah. So you are...
Yep.
Author, poet...
I'm an author. Yes.
Radio DJ on...
Yes.
That kind of texture. You
Indeed.
are also a pianist.
Yes.
I mean, and you just mentioned about the sculpture and all this kind of thing that you've kind of organised. What
I'm an artist. I'm a watercolourist.
Mate, what else?
A photographer.
Really?
Everything creative. They're all linked, you know. Writing. Sometimes you can write a picture from your head. Yeah. Sometimes I play piano and I can see something that I'm playing, so it sounds like the sea or whatever it is, or blues, and you get into it. Sometimes you can write a piece of music, but sometimes you're writing as actually write and you're visualizing. So when I write from within inside the story, because it's the only way I can do it. I never write sort of third person-esque and you're distant from it like some writers do. I write from within.
Right.
So when I did my gallery stories, because I had a gallery for 14 years and I was a sales director for 15 years before that, the stories had to come from within, and I used to be exhausted. And the classic example was we went to do my first exhibition up in Edinburgh. I used to go to Edinburgh, you know, and I'd go to an art event. It was great. I used to come back. It took a week to get my sort of Midlands accent back. Because, hey, hello, number 9 the gallery. How you doing? And so this whole event that I wrote, when I finished, I'd packed the van, driven up to Edinburgh, got out for a drink with the colleague that I took with me, found the B&B, did the exhibition, did the private views, drank every single day, got back in the van on the Sunday night, drove back down, emptied it, and I wrote the whole thing. At the end of it, I swear, I'd already gone up and done a week's work. I was absolutely cream-crackered.
Wow.
And that's how I like to write. And my poetry is also very similar. When I write sometimes images or an observation, I call myself an observationist, which is a lovely made-up word. And a friend of mine, we did a whole photographic exhibition. And we got accused of being too painterly. How can you be painterly in a photograph? No editing. Look at the picture and compose the image that you want. Click.
Yeah.
Oh, too arty. I said, well, I just don't want to paint nuts and bolts or boring pictures like you do. Yeah. And I had a massive exhibition, and all the photographers in Birmingham went mental because, well, why couldn't we have an exhibition in your gallery? I said, because they don't sell photographs in my gallery. But it doesn't stop me having my own photographic exhibition.
Absolutely.
And they were all outside on the aluminium boards, so they were in something like a metre by half a metre size with information on them.
Oh, I'd love to.
It was great fun. And then watercolours, people say to me, when you do a watercolour, it's quite naive, my style. But they go, oh, I didn't realise that was you. So when my wife made me put my watercolours in my art gallery the first time, and someone said, do you know the artist? I would always say, I know him really quite well, actually. Who is it? It's me. No. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I didn't know you painted. I went, what do you do now? Would you like to buy it? And it's really embarrassing selling your own work compared to selling. I can sell a £500,000 Lowry, LS Lowry.
Yeah.
But when I had my first solo exhibition, 1,000,000 miles away from Birmingham, down in Devon, Branston Gallery, she sold nearly all the works. It was like, you're kidding me? People buy my art? Wow.
That's super cool, mate.
So I paint. So my 3 books. So you want to own an art gallery? Where's your gallery now? And the last one was Now You're the Artist. Deal with it.
Sweet, love them.
And I'm actually writing the 4th book of the trilogy, which I go because book 3 ends. I won't say too much, but it ends like a classic scene where they drive off into the sunset.
Yeah.
And so there's an agent and the guy, and they drive off, and you don't know what happens. And I always wanted to finish it. And Andrew published those. Said, "No, that's the end of it." And I've been sitting there for a couple of years going, "No, it isn't," because I've been to the Caribbean on 3 or 4 occasions, and I've linked it all together to an imaginary place. And the guy wakes up in the Caribbean, and I'm writing 3 o'clock. How do you write 3 o'clock? You know, what time is the art class? 3 o'clock, and I'm TREEE CLURKE. And I'm laughing, and my wife will come in and she'll say, "What are you doing?" I said, "Read this," because it's
I'm reading.
I'm laughing out loud, and that's maybe a bad sign, but the people I've read these little bits to go, "This is great," so I'm enjoying it.
Oh, I can't wait! I can't wait to read it myself. Actually, that would be super cool. Can I take you back to Baby Benson?
Baby Benson, born at an early age.
Yeah. When did you? Because obviously you're a man of incredible talent, and many of them, lucky bastard. When did they start? When did they start appearing? And kind of what order? Like, how did you, or did you come out kind of playing piano and writing poetry? Like, what happened?
I could draw in junior school. I loved it. I was very creative, and it makes sense as I go through my life as to why I found visual imagery important. And so, at the age of 7, I began learning piano lessons. The guy smelt of fish paste, and he had drove an old motorbike, and he was a lovely guy, and I played, and after about a year of learning, I began messing with notes and keys, even at 8 or 9, and running sort of almost like a blues type stuff. Don't know, it just happened. I would make up stuff, and I'd be looking at learning these boring songs. But I understand why now, because it gets your fingers moving, their exercises and everything. So, and I did grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and I didn't think much of them, and then I got further up the line, and I said one day, I get bored doing these scales. I said, why don't you show me how to do stuff like this? And the guy said, "Who's taught you how to do that?" I said, "I don't know. I close my eyes and it comes out," which is almost sort of bluesy type scales, but not trained blues scale. Oh, you have to play it like this. I play how I feel.
Yeah.
A big problem when you're in the band then in the 80s, and we were so regimented by how we learned and rehearsed that we could play off the beat or play on the beat or play before or double back into another break. So I learned piano from an early age. I was very good. I was top of art in junior school. And then really I wanted to go to the art school. I passed to go into the top grade grammar school. I was the last of the grammar school here. And I went with my mates to a place called Moseley Grammar School and really down tools because everything artistic they didn't want me to do. So I was top of woodwork, technical drawing, all things like that, art.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you have to do maths, physics and all the stuff, which is just algebra, for God's sake. Let x equal y. And I go, okay, so now what? So x equals y. It meant nothing to me. Rubbish. 31 years of age, I discovered I was dyslexic.
Really?
Hence the creativity or my visual imagery, anything that was interesting visually, I could do something with it. Anything that was boring. 1643, so happened. Yeah, and straight in, straight out.
My father was dyslexic, could pick up, really could pick up any guitar, banjo, ukulele, bass, harmonica, and he was no lessons, just had a natural.
Sorry, Jaden. He could pick up anything. Could he play? No, but he could pick it up.
Not at all. He just picked it up and then. Well, he was amazing.
The other day, did his back in.
Comedian is going on my list as well.
That's just natural. No.
But no, he was amazing.
My wife says to me, "How do you think they come out?" I say, "How do you think these things?" You realise when you think, "Well, doesn't everybody?" No,
it's a form of Tourette's, I think.
Quick. It's a form of adult Tourette's without any abuse in there.
Yeah, it's
slightly bonkers. I think in this day and age, people want labels, and I'm not really a labely sort of person, and I can't be genre sorted out either. So one says, "Oh, you're not writing for one particular audience." No, no. Your music, you should be playing that. Don't tell me what I should do. I'll do what I bloody well like. So even now, like,
I love that, mate.
Oh, play me so and so. My radio show bans. You cannot have ABBA and you can't have Adele. I like Adele. Good, very good. Well, go on another radio show because you're not coming on mine. It's a stirring point. But I did once play an Adele song, but I made it sound like Bob Dylan was doing it.
Oh, really?
And I did Elton John once. It was in a pub playing, and I love Elton John. This woman said, "Okay, it's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide. I hope you don't mind what I put down in words." She's got what the...
Love it.
Sorry.
No, I think it's amazing. And you survived this long, which is even better. You're still on the air. No, it's great, mate. Although, I've got to be honest, you're going to hate me, but I do love a bit of ABBA.
Well, one of the nicest things that someone did to me when I had my art gallery was, we've got you to treat. We walked, the gallery was around the corner from the Hyatt Hotel. So it was just off Broad Street in Birmingham. And we went over, had a lovely meal, and I was seeing these people with like purple sparkly wigs and things. I went, oh, there must be a fancy dress party on. And this is our surprise. We went in, it was the proper ABBA tribute band. I went, oh, Jesus Christ, no. Here's a no. Anyway, after the third song, and I'm shaking, I'm going, yeah. And the wife looked at me and she said, "You don't like ABBA, do you?" I went, "Did you notice?" Yes. You're sitting there going, as if it's agony. I went, "I really don't like them, honestly. I appreciate the quality of what they do, but..." Got to the end of the first half. I said, "I'm ever so sorry. Thank you. I cannot do any more of this."
I think
I've got to go.
Business-wise, oh my God, mate. And the fact that come back now and done the whole Voyage tour, which isn't that cheap. I wanted to go but couldn't afford it. But oh my God, they've got something going on. That's
absolutely. Yes, it was a unique sound when everything was very, very different. I mean, what were they up against? Slade? Still a brilliant band, the complete opposites. The Shawaddy Waddy was going out at the same time. Punk was sort of at an end, and here's ABBA.
Yeah.
There are a couple, in all respect, there are a couple of songs I do like. Here we are, live on Jaden Show. I admit to liking a couple of songs by ABBA, but I'm not telling you which ones. And I was forced to watch the film. Oh my God.
The Mamma Mia ones.
Oh.
Yeah, see, I didn't like that. I don't like ABBA if it's not done by ABBA.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I love the cuteness of how Agneta used to say some of her broken English words, but Meryl Streep don't say it like that, so it annoyed me. And Cher, I love Cher. Cher's a phenomenal businesswoman and amazing.
Cher doing ABBA songs.
No, it didn't work. Chickatita, no, Chickatita, tell me what's wrong.
Wrong. Yep.
But anyway, let's go back to
like Elton John doing Bob Dylan. So it doesn't work.
Nice Girls, to be fair, that'd be another one. So art, kind of drawing and painting was your first kind of real
and I didn't go to the art school. I went to the grammar school, which was a big mistake, really. And I said to my mum way years later, that was a big mistake. And she said, well, we didn't force you, but looking back now, I was more artistic than my brother and my sister, who both went to the art school. And I didn't treat anything serious. So I left home at 18 and I would knock on hotel doors because I went to with a cousin. We had a Fiat 500, Irish Reg Fiat 500, which he'd borrowed from his mate, shipped it from Egypt to Ireland. And he said, we're going on holiday for a couple of weeks. Can we borrow your car? Yeah, fine. Comes to England. We had the First World War tent and stuff, an 8-track machine that had 2 cassettes. John Denver's Greatest Hits and After the Gold Rush, Neil Young, the only 2 bits of music. How long do you think you can stand listening to just those? Because there was no radio. And it started to go wrong in Milan. The starter cable broke and we managed to push it without having to start on the hill, park anywhere on the hill, jump into the car. And in Athens, we got it fixed. So, but that's another story. That's how my children's stories came out, about an egg that gets out of a fridge, goes on an adventure, doesn't break on every page, and gets back home. And did he break? Well, maybe. And then I wrote 10 more egg stories. So that's another story.
Hey.
So going young, back to art, I didn't do it. I did grammar school. I really wasn't cut out for the way they think. And I was not a 9-to-5 school kid. I was great at the tuck shop. I was great at anything arty.
Yeah.
But academic, running, my first cousin was captain of cricket and captain of rugby. And here's me, 16 stone at 15 years of age, going, run, no, taxi. Swim, nah, it's all right. Gin and tonic by the pool, that sort of thing.
So already you had superstar kind of ambitions, even at that age.
Well, yeah, I never thought I ever had to work, and then leaving home, and I came back 3 years later, which was quite remarkable. That was my university degree. I got glandular fever and lost 4 stone in a month. Went back to school, and the chap I'm still in touch with now, back in touch, he fell off the ladder in the library. You're dead? No, I'm not. I'm here. You've lost weight? Yes. Everyone thought you were dead, so I wasn't dead.
Amazing.
And they became the background, because I think when you write from experience. It's just how you interpret it and change it.
Yeah.
So coming back at 21, I thought, and I had long hair, blondish, had all gone. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll fly around the world. I'll go get the job with British Airways. That's the market. Trolley dolly. I passed the first, second, third stages, and I thought, I don't want to do this. And no disrespect, I was the only straight guy on the course at the time. And I thought, no, I won't do that. I'll make a few bob, and I'm going to do the Southern Hemisphere. And my dad put me in touch with somebody, and I went into his office. It was all smelling fresh, but it was horrible bloody paint. And I said to him, oh, I don't think much of this office. God, who did these colours? I said, am I here to decorate them? He's looking at me. Do you want a job? I said, well, yeah, they look like you've just painted. A bit of a waste, really. He said, no, I want you to sell cash registers. I went, what? And I went out that day and sold 2 on the first day, and ended up working for National Cash Registers for 5 years.
Wow, mate. So selling cash registers, that's a little bit different.
Blogging cash registers, and I ended up knowing all the gangsters in Birmingham. I was selling to all the clubs, the working men's clubs, the nightclubs. I earned a lot of money. I was the most expensive product on the market and beat everybody, and I hated every day of it. On my first poems, I'm having a Monday morning on a Thursday afternoon. I'm sitting in this pub in the middle in Derbyshire thinking, what am I doing? And my brother had formed a band, and I actually went to America, had a holiday, came back with my American Express bill, and the company said, well, we're going to have to make you redundant. You're earning too much, and this, and that, and the other. And what did I do? Got my redundancy money, went out and bought some keyboards and joined a rock band. And I'm going, oh, second childhood, here we go again. And ESP evolved. My brother was a manic depressive. He left after about 2 or 3 weeks, although he set it all up. Very clever, but he couldn't maintain because he was an extreme bipolar, and which was hard work. It really was. And then we foursome went out, played some pretty impressive gigs, Camden Palace, if you remember those days, Odeon. We didn't do pub gigs, and we didn't do covers. We did all our own stuff. Had a good following. Eventually, the guitarist left, and that left 3 of us. And we went on for a while, and then it just sort of fizzled. By that time, I'd had one daughter, and so I had to get a proper job. And I ended up with a mate of mine who I knew, not so much a friend now. And he said, "I'm opening up an art shop. Do you want a part-time job?" And I went, "Yeah, because I'm going to Australia. I want to do the Southern Hemisphere." And my dad took ill and never bloody went, which is a great shame. And I ended up being, for that company, the sales director for that company after 15 years of never really wanting to work. And I left that, and the last thing I was going to do was go back into retail. I wanted to go to Devon, and I wanted to be a watercolourist. I wanted to paint by the sea. And because we bought a place down there right by the sea, a bit like Birmingham by the sea. But
I lived in Devon for 15 years.
Thurleston, South Hams, Thurleston, by the Thurleston Rock.
I was in Barnstaple, Westwood Ho, Bideford. All
you were north. That was North Devon. I was right in the South Hams.
Yeah.
So it was a right nice place down there.
Lovely, super lush.
Really nice. That's it. Really pretty. Yeah. Welsh. And I ended up opening my own art gallery. And it was like a stage. You open the doors, the show begins. You close the doors, the show stops. And I had more alcohol go through my gallery, more fun, more bands, the most unusual contemporary gallery selling modern stuff, glass, paintings, ceramics, wood, anything. I had never run my own business before, and I still to this very day don't think I know how, but I was always invited to talk, which I did. When the people that took over the area, they asset stripped Brindley Place and said, we're doubling your rent. And I looked at the odds and I thought, it's tough enough selling original art. The bills are getting higher and higher. I looked for a smaller place and the bills are going to be more or less the same price. So it's like £250,000 to make a penny before I could actually earn money. Now that's a lot of money going back.
Even that still is a lot of money.
So the gallery's been closed 11 years. My mum took ill. I looked after her for a year. I then joined a charitable institution called Leaps and Bounds, and I ended up mentoring kids who were told they were useless. And I had to say, well, I'm not a teacher. I've got like 2 O-levels to my name, but a Blue Peter badge. And that works. And helped all these kids. This first show, I ended up being the coordinator and the art person dealing with it, putting the shows together, doing the whole lot. It's a bit like all being in the band, what you do and all this thing. And 80% of those kids went back into higher education. Some went back to helping other people. Success stories, which was just fabulous. I mean, when we opened up in the Birmingham Library, I cried my eyes out seeing the one girl who swore, shouted she was evil. She stood in front of 300 people and gave an opening speech. And it was, wow, almost as good as having kids, that was.
Wow. Wow.
So that's a little short link. And then having done several projects, that was called Who Am I? We then did another project with special needs people. Then we did another project which was to do with lockdown called Remember Me, which was dementia, which lockdown came along and that caused a problem. Yeah. Did another one here in Hale Zone, which was called Blank Wall, about kids wanting to express themselves. We teach them art. And they all said, we don't do this in school. And it took me back to being in school where creativity, we were the last generation that were actually able to do stuff creatively because it's drummed out of them. They don't want to because they can't mark it. And these kids love being able to think.
I think I'm just under 10 years younger than you, and there was hardly any creativity.
Yeah. Paintbrush is bad for your eyes, health and safety. Or you could eat the paint. Well, none of us died when we were young.
Yeah.
Fine.
And it was lead-based.
Yeah, absolutely. Glow in the dark. Wonderful.
Yeah, didn't learn any instruments. It was completely poo-poo. I literally just, for me, it was the worst time of my existence. The most useless, the most
I hated school, to be honest. I hated school.
There's a show out on Netflix at the moment called Heartstoppers. I'm a gay man, but I'm not really into the whole gay scene, into all this kind of stuff as well. I'm just me, and that's it. But there's this.
Well, that's it. You don't need a label. You're a person. No, do I have to walk around with blatantly heterosexual T-shirts on me? No, I'm a geezer. You're a geezer. That's all there is to it.
Our preferences are our preferences. Yeah. Like, enough. Do you know what I mean? It's quite interesting actually, because I've kind of said it on most of my shows now. And I think we are getting just beyond crazy with our labeling. Like, now it's the pronouns and the gender affirming stuff. And like, why can't
it's rubbish? It's mental rubbish. And not only is it bad for everybody, but when a very small minority are controlling the majority and demanding entitlement, there's something wrong. You just have to go, you can be whatever. You can be a cat if you want to sit on the balcony. That's fine. You want to identify as a cat? Eat cat food. It's not my problem.
Yeah.
And if you want me to call you a cat, yeah, pussy, pussy, pussy. I'll chuck you off the cliff. You've got 9 lives. Go on, jump. Do I care? No, because you're not going to affect my life. But if you're ramming down your information that I have to be aware of what you're thinking, poor you. God, there's a problem with the world. And making it all accessible so that a man can dress as a woman if he wants to and be identified as a woman when he definitely isn't. There's a lovely Australian program. The guy goes, mate, you've either got a hole or a pole. End of. And I love it. And it's a showstopper. And I think this labelling bit has got to stop. A lot of my gay friends think it's the most ridiculous thing out. He said it's destroying, all the battle that the freedom so that single-sex couples can be together, can be married or whatever. Yeah, I've got no problem with any of that at all. I officiated one wedding, which was lovely. I had the most fabulous male nude exhibition. I didn't say we were all nude. We had a male nude exhibition. We were at the Meat and Veg show. It sold. The biggest gay bar sponsored it. The party went on for ages. A guy came up to me and he said, "Where's your wife?" And I went, "At home in bed." He said, "Well, who's that?" I said, "That's the artist. Is that not your wife?" I said, "No, it's not my wife." "What are you doing for lunch tomorrow?" I said, I'll be in the gallery. Do you want to come and buy a picture? He said, are you not gay? I said, no, I'm not gay. He said, do you want to try it? I went, no, not particularly. He said, well, don't knock it. I said, I'm not knocking it. I said, I'll stick to what I like to do. You do what you want to do. He said, well, if you change your mind. I said, well, if you want to buy a picture, here's my card. But the answer is no. A lot of guys would have run a mile. But it was banter, you know. And one of my friends, she decided that she could convert one of my artists who really was beautifully gay, lovely guy, great friend even now. And he's in my book. And I said to him, I've written about you. Because you're Australian, I've had to call you Bruce. He went, what? You're Bruce in the book. And this lady said, I'll shag him. She goes, I'll sort him out. I said, don't think so.
Probably not, Don. Love it.
But you see, if you're not allowed to say that because you're going to offend somebody, was what I've just said offensive? I don't think so.
I think for me, we spend more time on emphasizing. I mean, everyone is completely different from everyone else. You're not going to be the same as your father, as your mother. So you either choose to be. If you're going to be discriminate about differences, then you've got to it's about fairness. Then you're discriminate to everyone because no one is the same. But on some sense, we're all the same because we're all complete individuals trying to exist on this spinning little globe and trying to make the best of our lives. So while we're spending more time on, and you said, the minority groups are run by the majority groups at the end of the day. I mean, it didn't start with one trans person saying, I want you. Exactly. It started off with someone that saw money in it or saw control in it. And then it became a big thing because, I was gay. Well, I was gay since 1973, but, trying to live with that and not be an out guy as well, because nothing I felt within the gay the gay lifestyle was representative of who I was as a gay man. I wasn't into go-go boys and strippers and drag queens. I had a few drag queen friends and stuff like that, but I was creative and artistic and quiet and blah blah blah. So and I think while we keep looking at that which makes us different, we keep forgetting about that which makes us the same. We're all trying to survive.
Absolutely, well said. The similarities are far greater, and therefore this wedge of minority stupidity is trying to destroy friendship, love,
it's breaking down community,
emotion,
absolutely,
compassion, and all the things that are what a real good society is about. And it is a destructive path that we're following down if we allow these people to demand that they are the only way it should be.
Yeah.
Next topic.
Thanks, United States of America. But anyway, that's where it's all bloody stemmed from. So, what's going on for Lee Benson at the moment? What are you doing creatively now? What's happening?
Well, creatively, writing-wise, I'm writing the second of my alien murder mystery stories under my pen name, which is Lee Hemingway.
Okay.
The first one came out in America, and it's called Ramonel. It's all about an alien. I'll tell you about that a bit later. So I'm writing book 2, and you've got very Englishness and very Americanisms all working in it, because they're all from people I remember from the past.
Yeah.
Then you have my other writing book 4 of my trilogy, which at the moment has got a working title of Reflections, because of all the sunlight and everything in the Caribbean is beautiful. Yeah. I've got a children's book coming out called The Puddle Monsters, which my daughter, who's a very good critique of mine, says, Dad, it's a bit scary. And I went, good. So it should be, and kids will like it. Test it out on your 8-year-old. Let's see what he goes. And he goes, oh, this is great. I'm going, good. So a lot of my children's books are illustrated. This is going to be a bit more. It's the fact that I got a friend to try and illustrate, and he was doing this funny character of a puddle monster, and it looked more like a sperm on the bench somewhere. I was like, no, the puddle is the monster. You're walking along in your wellies, especially if they're green. Walk, splash, gone. What? The puddle is the monster. And then she came up with a better idea, my daughter. She said, Dad, they can't die. You've got to do something. So they become a time machine. And they go through the puddle. So you have a nasty time, but they'll all end up on the beach somewhere with a great time. How do they come back? I haven't
in
got
the Caribbean with the other story.
With the aliens, yeah, this is it. And teddy bears. How do we come out with a book called Aliens, Teddy Bears, Police Officers, and a Librarian? How the hell does that come out?
No. But it did, quite frankly.
Well, I do. I read it out.
You might have ended up in a home if it hadn't have come out about it.
And then poetry. So what happened was I decided. Andrew Spark, who recommended me, he used to publish all my stuff, and I just thought I'm with a group which are all independent published authors, and I should be doing this myself. I shy away from it because I'm scared to press the button, you know. But once you learn to press the buttons, you should be able to do it yourself. So I said to Andrew, I'm going to be redoing all my own stuff, all my children's stuff, etc., and I've followed on. So the enjoyment of the freedom of being able to do what you want to do exactly as you want to do it has been challenging, but really good for me, and mentally good, physically good. And so I've got 8 books of poetry which are completely being rewritten, different titles, the whole thing, and they will come out later on in the year. It's 2 volumes. Book 4 of the trilogy is coming out. Another poetry book's coming out. 2 children's stuff, and that. So that's enough for this year. Okay. And I'm just waiting on a charity project. There's a famous park not far from here. It's called the Lees, and we put in a bid because in the past, when presidents and stuff, they all did the world tour. 2 presidents-to-be from America did the world tour at the Lees.
Okay.
Because there was a writer and architect and designer called William Shenstone, of which most people know it as Wetherspoon Pub, but he was quite a famous bloke, pretty naff poet, so they say, but he made this wonderful trail around this Lees Park area, all natural, and most of it got destroyed because it was made of wood. And I came up with one idea because the guys who had the park were saying, well, our clubhouse is burnt down and it's all rotten and we need some help. And I thought, I've got an idea. So my head goes into gear again. We have another guy, Rich, who writes all the stuff, and we're waiting at the moment to get this up and running project, which is good. On top of that, when I bought this house away from Birmingham, and it's really nice and raw going back in time, I learned about gardening. Never thought of having to mow the lawn for me folks, but gardening, planting things and cutting things. And my mate goes, have you chopped any trees down recently? It's a full-time job having a garden because it looks at you going, I'm going to grow, you haven't got me. And you go, no.
I have a 32-tree peach orchard where I live.
Wow.
And it's established, it's beautiful. And I've just planted figs, apples, pears, plums, rhubarb that I told you earlier. So yeah, it is. And then, I do completely appreciate that even some of the most prettiest things take the longest arse time to become pretty.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you make alcohol from them as well as all the fruits?
No, I did when I was in England. I used to go and do get all the sloe berries and make sloe gin and damson brandy. I'm pagan by tradition, so every season I would do this kind of circle of life thing. So, like in the October, the Samhain time, I would make damson brandy and sloe gin, and then I would leave it for a year, and then and you have to prick everything with a silver hat pin, and then the next year I would have a glass of each, toast the gods of nature whilst making the next batch, and so it continues. Then I left England 9 years ago, and so there's some amazing damson brandy and sloe gin in my mum's attic that hasn't been touched.
Wow. Can you imagine what that's going to be like?
It's going to be potent stuff. So
have you ever made hawthorn berry ketchup before?
No. You need to.
Right. So again, in lockdown, a friend said, have you tried this? The little red berries you see?
We get
so you collect all those, you've got to clean them all up, and there's a big pip, and then you have to cook them up with apple cider vinegar and this and that and the other, and then you have to put it through a sieve with the back of a spoon and then get all the pips out, which takes forever. So the first year, I made 500 grams worth. That took 6 hours. The second year, I picked about 1 kilo, and it's still a lot of hard work picking them all. And my wife said, the year before last, she said, oh, you need to pick some more. So I picked about 2.5 kilos of hawthorn berries, enough for the birds, because all the birds, there's millions of them. It was a great year. That took, 8 hours solidly.
Oh, my God.
Pushing it through the back of the sieve. And then you add your and it tastes like the richest brown sauce ever, but it's full of flavours. It's totally natural.
And it's super high in vitamin C, by the way.
Huh?
Hawthorn berry is one of the highest givers of vitamin C.
Yeah. So I made that. Nice. We had a quince tree in the garden. I made quince jam and Montbrio. I learned how to do that. And quince gin. Just bung some of the pulp in. And so lockdown for me was enabling me to understand things which, using the hands like you, creative. I think I'm older than pagan part of me. I have shamanistic tendencies and very spiritual. Another thing to me. which follows through, because I wrote a ghost story when we moved into the house in off the Rotten Park Road. There was ghosts in it.
Okay.
No, there isn't. You're just being silly. And so I wrote this ghost story called The True Tales of Rotten Towers, 5 years after I'd sold the place, by the way.
Right.
And I had to get them all, you had to get them all busted and get them out. And I had this guy that was going around with his medicines and all the stuff. And in the end, the two of us had to get rid of this ghost who was coming for me. He was a First World War signaller.
Wow.
And he found a girl and a mum and obviously some problem, and they came back and he protected them in the house. And when the people were building this house, they threw all the stuff away, they disturbed everything. I'm the one that the guy was coming for because I'm the spiritual one. We cleansed my apartment. That's when all hell broke loose, because you had winds going up and downstairs where there's no doors. I've seen furniture moving.
Okay, I need to talk about this as well, because not only am I stealing you from my book show, I've also got a show called The J Files, which is people's real experiences of supernatural ghost hauntings.
I've got loads. And my dad wouldn't. I said to him, Dad, do you know when you're sitting there and suddenly you're not in the room and you're looking down from above and you can see everything going on? He went, no, don't talk to me like that. I said, yeah, but the other day I was walking in the village and there's this guy talking to me. I said, he's dressed. He looks like he's dressed in a soldier's outfit, and then he wasn't there. No. My dad was very can't have any of that stuff. Then I realised that I'm actually quite psychic, quite spiritual, and I can see ghosts. And you have to just accept it. They can't do anything to you really. But I've written some bits about them, and some of my friends said you really ought to embellish these. Well, I can't embellish something that's really happened because it's too close. So I'm trying to. That'll be something else at a project. But I remember seeing the ghost in one of the last houses. There's none in this house, by the way. But the one before, that was really detrimental in Edgbaston. And then in Stourbridge, there was an old stable boy that fell, apparently, in the back of the garden. And when I rebuilt the house, he'd be looking at the window going, he couldn't get through. And I thought, I searched who he was, found out and sent him back home. And then the first little place when I moved out of Birmingham into the Black Country originally was a little nailer's house, and there was this very jealous woman, and she used to pat the bed, and she locked my ex in the bathroom. Now there's no lock in the bathroom. You could sit. It was a small loo. You could sit on the loo, put your feet in the bath, wash your hands and everything. And I was hearing, "Get me out! What have you done? What have you done?" Nothing. The door wouldn't open. And then I went, "Come on, enough's enough." And it just went, "Mm-hmm." "What did you do?" I said, "Nothing." And this ghost, you knew when you walked in that she was behind you, nosy. Open the microwave, she'd be looking at things like that. And then one day I thought, right, I found out who you were. Because in those days, 3 or 4 families would live in these small nailers' houses, because that's what they used to make, nails. Mm-hmm. I found her grave, which was only across the road. And I said, "I'm sorry, babe, but you've got to go back home. We've got to let you free." And when she went, there was this intense calm in the room. There was only a little house. And the reason why I know it is the bass player that was in the band, we went on holiday together in the 80s, and we're sitting there talking. He said, "Do you ever see any ghosts in your place?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, there's this woman, and she's got like a brown cloak on." I said, "Oh, you have seen it?" She said, "Well, we thought it was you coming down the stairs," and then she vanished. I went, Elsie, we called her. Wow. So you've seen her. And another couple then came, and they saw her. So I thought, well, I'm not just making it up. So I have witnesses. And my other friend, this is a good one. A friend of mine, they lived in a beautiful big house in Solihull. I said, "Oh, I love your gardener." I said, "What gardener?" "The one there doing the roses. You can see a gardener." I said, "Yes." Do you know the story?" I said, "No, I don't know the story." Well, the guy used to tend the garden before 2 or 3 families beforehand, and his wife died, and he scattered her ashes around his beloved rose beds. So when he died, he was obviously looking after his wife. And I go, "Well, I can see him out there. We haven't got a gardener." "You have. It's there.
And he's cheap."
"Yeah, very cheap."
Amazing. Okay. I'm so seeing you for my other show as well.
Okay.
You've already given me a little bit of a hint. Obviously this year in itself is going to be pretty manic for you with what you've got going on. What are your plans for the near and the little bit further away future? What's going on? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to do?
Well, be as outrageous as possible. As one gets to nearer that 70 year, the answer is I'm still young and I still want to do silly things. I've got a fabulous e-bike, which if you don't pedal, you won't go anywhere. And we're a very hilly area. Like I couldn't get up the hills in my old bike. So that's something I just love doing. I love being in performances. I'm doing more of those. I'm loving it. In fact, I should have done it right at the beginning. I really would love to somehow get into films, not so much acting, but just being the person. And now with lockdown, doing more schools for the kids, because you couldn't, the whole thing closed down.
Yeah.
Nobody could go anywhere. And I have 10 children's books. Kids laughing is what makes you go. So I want to go to a lot more schools. Other crazy things, I haven't been able to paint properly. We've had crappy weather, really. So I want to go off somewhere just on my own for a week or two and do a new body of work.
Nice, mate.
And then we're in the throes of having this house decorated. We moved in 10 years ago, and I just put loads of pictures everywhere because I collect pictures and I collect everything. And up until recently, my wife said, I can't stand this anymore. Every single windowsill's full and this cupboard. So I said, I'll sell it. So I've been selling it. That's been good fun. And I took all the pictures down, and now we're putting them up, fewer ones. So I'm having to sell some of my personal friends and some of my artworks and my 50s glass and my art deco stuff and my troika, and it's all going, and I love wrapping it all up. And so long may that continue for the next year or two, because we're getting more and more room, and this room, you can't really see it, but it's a bit like Steptoe's Emporium.
Okay, love it.
It's all part of, well, it's nicely creatively piled in the middle. I think there might be a wedding coming up. One of my daughters is planning on getting married at some point, so that's this year or next year. I think
it's non-stop then, really.
17, we'll have fun. Just have fun. Life should be about fun.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
So more of it, and I'll make sure I do.
From your lips to the god or goddess's ears, mate, I tell you, that will be lovely. More fun,
and
more
help
nice,
people,
more community. Yes.
Help more people. I think a friend of mine has got a lot of money. He's retired now. I said, what are you doing to help other people? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, you play golf. Well, what else do you do? He said, well, I play golf and watch a bit of telly. I said, well, all your knowledge. And he said, why don't you offer your services to go into a school somewhere and tell them about what you've done, and just give a spark of hope to the next generation, because they're being eroded from anything that they want to do. They're being told what they should be doing. This is what you're going to do. And that, if we don't continue doing that, then this phone generation and this expectation of everything is going to ruin us all. So I want to make sure with my grandchildren we'll be doing stuff, even if it's reading a book. So there's nothing nicer. Do you know, I've waited for my nearly 3-year-old open one of my Shelley books, and he's reading the story, and it's like, I didn't notice in 2002 that this was going to happen, and what joy it could bring 22 years later. It was like a tearful moment of, oh, wow.
That's amazing, mate. And with the way that AI is going, get them to start writing books, because we don't want to be dictating to an AI machine saying, I want a story about a tortoise that lives in Maui who fell in love with a prawn, and could be a new story for you, mate.
And it does it, and it does
and
it.
It does.
And the prawn looks just like everything AI. You know it's AI.
To me, she looks a little bit like, oh my God, what's her name? Eartha Kitt.
Eartha Kitt the prawn.
Yeah.
Great. Hello, I'm a prawn.
Hello. Oh, that's Mama Miranda.
I'd like to play the piano in unusual places. Just sit down. I mean, in England now, there's pianos in service stations around, and then we'll go off and get a coffee, and I'll just go, oh, hopefully they're in tune, and I'll just sit and play, and then you get people around you, and they say, oh, gotta go now. Sorry, thank you. And they go, who are you? I said, doesn't matter. Bye.
Well, I'm going to hunt you down, and I'm going to come for a sing-song to your piano playing.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Lovely.
You come and stay if you like.
I'll let you know when I'm back in Old Blighty.
All right, then.
Mr. Benson, I
Lee.
appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being part of my Jaden show. I'm looking forward to chatting to you on other shows as well. But for now, on the Jaden show, I wish you all the success of the best of British to you, dudes.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
It'd be lovely. Lee Benson, thank you so much, mate. You take good care.
Bye.
See you later, bud. Bye-bye. Well, you've met him. I'm sure you love him. So make sure you go and show the brother some support and love on all of his social media platforms. Go and check him out. And the boy has written so many books, so many poet books, so many other books, children's books. He's got a plethora. He's got a whole bloody library, in fact. Go and check them out on Amazon and go and check him out on all of his social media platforms. And if you're in the Black Country, then definitely tune into his radio show and definitely go and check him out when he's playing live. He will be amazing to see live. He's such a cool guy. Thank you so much for allowing Lee and I into your private space this Sunday. I hope you've enjoyed today's show, and I really hope that you come back and see me again next Sunday with another special guest. Now, I know Lee said he's not a big ABBA fan. I think he made that quite clear during the show. Now, my two favourite groups as a kid were ABBA, but I also loved, not a group, but artist, was Olivia Newton-John. And she sung a song called If Not For You. Well, we can listen to Lee and his version of If Not For You. You take care. Please subscribe. Please hit the tinkly bell. Please comment. Please like. Please share. And also, if you haven't seen it, please go back and check out the book read with Lee Hemingway. It's a really, really great show, and it's a really, really great book. You do need to be checking it out. And I will see you next Sunday on the Jaden Show. Stay beautiful. Bye-bye.
For you, babe, I couldn't find the door. I couldn't even see the floor. I'd be sad and blue if not for you. If not for you, baby, I'd lay awake at night, waiting for the morning light to shine through. But it would not be new if not for you. If not for you, my sky would fall, the rain would gather too. At your love, I'd be nowhere at all. I'd be lost if not for you, and you know it's true. The sky would fall, the rain would gather too. Without your love, I would be nowhere at all. Oh, what would I do if not for you? No spring, couldn't hear the robins sing, and I wouldn't have a clue. Anyway, it wouldn't ring true if not for you. If not for you. If not for you. not for you, if not for you, if not for you, if not for you.